Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to This Pink Cloud. I am DJ Kelly Reverb, RSPS, and we are a show on recovery. And, we're excited to have this guest on. He's come a long way. Sitting in the studio with me is Mr. Josh Jordan. And then Mr. Clark Ford over there, our straight edge aficionado. But
hey,
yeah, exactly.
Nice. All
but
right, another one.
You hear that voice, and that voice is the author, first degree black belt of Taekwondo, founding member of Hagfish, and the bass player of a little group called the Toadies, all the way from Los Angeles. Sobriety Enthusiast, Mr. Donivan Blair. How are you, bud?
I'm doing great. I like Sobriety Enthusiast.
So it's not so like straight edge, because we know when you were straight edge younger, it was more of a hardcore movement. So now you're just a sober enthusiast.
Well, yeah, but I mean, obviously, when my brother and I, Zach, he's in the band Rise Against, who are very much straight edge proponents as well of the sober living lifestyle. It's Zach and I were just we didn't know what straight edge was, but we had a friend of ours that had spent some time out in California that came back, and he'd gotten turned on to Minor Threat. He turned us on to Gorilla Biscuit. Turned us on to all this great stuff.
Right now, hey, real quick, is it Ian McKay, Ian McCaw? How do you say it?
I think it's Ian Mackay.
Okay, so it's neither of what I said.
From my brother, yeah.
Okay.
I've gotten this from my brother, who heard it from
who knows his mom, and it's
he didn't. Yeah, and I guess they spent some time with him. And Zach was like, "Okay, how am I saying your name correctly?" And he got corrected the correct way.
Okay, cool.
But
now we know.
My friend was this guy. He kind of came back and he asked what my brother and I did and all this stuff. They're like, "Oh, we don't drink or do drugs." He goes, "Oh, you guys are straight edge." We were like, "The hell is that?" And then he told us and played this Minor Threat, and then we looked at him and we're like, "Yep, we're that." That's badass.
That's us, right? And you got the tattoo to prove it, right?
Well, yeah, I do now, and it's like at that point we had like a North Star to look to. Like, instead of just being the two weird dipshits that didn't party or do anything, now we had something to like. Oh shit, we're this. We're not just weird, like that. We don't want to get high or anything like that. We have something to be. We have it was a first kind of like identity thing that we really had in our lives. And so it meant and means a lot to us.
Right.
I'm just not it's my own personal thing. I mean,
sure.
Plenty of people in my band, and then I'm, my crew and all of that, they definitely imbibe. And I don't look down on anyone for doing any of that.
Right.
Whatsoever.
Yeah. No,
I don't think that's right to do. That was one thing about a lot of it that I didn't really set too well with me.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, you've got three alcoholic / addicts here, like thinking, what is wrong with this guy, dude? We're like, I mean, that is a huge commitment, because, you were surrounded by that. I mean, like I said, you were a founding member of Hagfish. So, that was 90s. And I mean, this is going on for your life. So that's like a commitment.
It was just one of those. Zach and I, my brother and I saw what happened with our parents growing up. Now, our parents grew up as hippies in the drug culture,
right?
And they did some drugs. My dad's got some great LSD/Pink Floyd stories.
Oh,
You
dude,
know?
we
And
need
he's
to
got
have your dad on the show.
well, he passed away 30
Oh,
years ago, but
whoops.
he told me once he was going to a party in Oklahoma, and he had just dropped some acid, and he pulled over because he saw the mountains doing the song and the faces. The mountains were making faces.
Of
And doing
course.
this song off of Umaguma called Millions of Small Furry Animals Gathered Together and Grooving in a Cave with a Pit. And I was like, whoa, what happened? He goes, well, you know, I was there for like 8 hours, missed the party, but had a great trip. You know? So,
Right.
and I mean, I think I have this, my brother and I have this theory that our mom and dad did so many drugs that it's just in our system and we don't need it.
Right.
Like, we got high.
You're
I
just
got high once
naturally,
when I was
right?
16. Yeah, and it didn't do shit for me. I looked at my brother and we were like, it shouldn't do shit for us. We were raised around it.
Right.
You know, Zach was going to get some cookies when he was 5 out of my parents' cupboard. And my mom had to scream and grab them out of his hand because they were pot cookies. That someone had given him as a gift.
Whoops.
We were surrounded by it.
Right.
And we just didn't. It didn't have a big allure. It was one of those things that it just turned us off. We saw a lot of people kind of losing their. Is this legal, Blue? Can you curse on this podcast at all?
Well, yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Well, just we saw people losing their shit on it, and we saw our teenage friends just going batshit crazy, and I didn't want to do that. I mean, like the only advice my dad gave me when I was a teenager was like, look, you know, I know you two say you're not going to go drink or all that, and that's fine. He goes, but if you decide to, then eat a cheeseburger. It'll suck up all the alcohol.
Good advice.
And that way you won't go around town and make me look like a fucking idiot.
Right.
All right. But kind of that was the point.
Right.
Don't get drunk and be an idiot.
Yeah, just don't have the police call me.
Well, but also with our family history, there's alcoholism runs through our history of our, you know, I mean, we come from an Irish Indian background.
Oh,
you know, so
a little fire water and potato water.
But in the same sense, as I'm also not trying to disparage Irish or Native Americans.
I'm 50% Irish and no disparage taken.
You know what I mean? No, but I also don't want to do that to to any Native Americans because that's already a bad stigma. But I have seen it. I'm not just saying that. I've seen it in my family. My grandfather was a horrible alcoholic, you know, and he was Cherokee Indian, and that's also because of his upbringing, the things that he saw, the things that, you know, that's the way he dealt with it.
Right.
He saw some horrible, horrible things. He really did. So did my mom and my dad. I mean, they did whatever they could, and sometimes on the weekends they blew off steam with beer.
Well, when you're having genocide of your people, you know, I can definitely see how that is, you know, some heavy history to deal with.
Yeah, it is. And my grandfather had just a pretty riveting old school upbringing as a kid, and just saw a lot of family members taken out right in front of his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it was the 20s and the 30s. You know,
right.
Shit wasn't great. You know? It was all grapes of wrath and shit. There
was absolutely no PC going on.
No, there wasn't. So I have nothing. I know, like, everyone dealt with everything how they had with the tools at their disposal at that point in time. But my brother and I saw this. We're like, I don't want any part of that shit.
Right.
So we're going to make a decision to not be like our.
And I find that interesting that somebody can actually do that. I mean, for us as addicts, we just go, oh my God, you know, how could you do that? You know, but I mean, the thing is, I want to point out the thing that is, like, you know, you're the version of yourself. Because, you know, you didn't drink and all that stuff. So, you know, you're an author, and then you're also a first-degree black belt in Taekwondo. And that doesn't happen when you're drinking and doing. Well, maybe if you're Elvis, but
Well,
but
sometimes I think I would be a better author if I did drink, because those are my favorite ones.
Right.
Because they're the, but I think I kind of get caught up in my head too much and I don't go along with it.
Right.
But the same point is it was just more of a take control of our lives type thing that we really wanted to, that, and just seeing all of the circumstances around us, it was like people, they didn't control their surroundings. And so Zach and I made a conscious effort to control our surroundings.
Right.
And we've dealt with so many people that we've truly, truly, truly loved that we've almost lost them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we've lost a few, definitely in the live music scene for sure.
Well, and I don't have the same experiences that you three guys have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can only talk about it from an outsider perspective of seeing that. So it's one thing to be the outsider and looking at this stuff and going, oh, wow, this is hurting me, or seeing this without any kind of thought of what it's doing to that fucking person.
Right.
You know what I mean? The person that's going through it.
Sure.
One of our best friends on the planet is doing 7 years now because he got caught up in drugs.
Right.
And he went down a spiral, and he's basically our brother, one of my brother's other brother.
Gotcha.
But on the same instance, we've got quite a few amazing friends that were able to pull themselves up out of the hole.
Right.
And just that joy of seeing them, like, wow, see where they were.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, to see where they were versus where they are now.
Oh yeah, we have seen personally, hundreds of thousands of success stories, but also those failures out there, and it's rewarding when you see somebody succeed, and it's rewarding when you see somebody trying to give that lifestyle, a chance.
Yeah.
I've got a question, Donnie.
Hey, this is Josh. Yeah.
So this is Josh. You were talking earlier about like your family and watching people like start down that path and that kind of being you and your brother's warning to not, or to try not to. And you used the phrase, you said people were just using the tools they had at their disposal to kind of reconcile what they had experienced in the past. And there's a lot of thinking around like traumatic experience leads to addiction, and I think in a large way that's obviously true for many. But aside from maybe like the big T's, as the clinical field likes to call it, like we've all got what we all in this podcast have in common is to some varying degree of intensity, like a level of unrest, right? I've always got to try and figure out how to get to be okay, right? Whether it's financial, emotional, whatever. So at some point, the only tool or the best tool I found was drugs and alcohol, and then something, the relationship with that started changing. Whereas your response to that experience in life, right? Teenage years, young adult years, whatever that was. What are the tools you were using that weren't drugs and alcohol? Or music, are now?
Yeah, still the same. Music, martial arts, those kinds of things to instead of if I'm having a bad day and I'm just really pissed off about something, I've just been very stressed, instead of pick up some alcohol or something like that, or a bottle of Jack or whatever. I like to do I apologize. Someone was just talking to me.
It's okay.
I like to do martial arts and go do Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I'm never the same person.
Are you an MMA guy, dude?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, you said jiu-jitsu, and then you said taekwondo, and I'm like, dude, that's MMA.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of respect for the MMA guys.
Yeah, of
but
course.
I don't. But That's not what I do. I'm never the same person walking out of a jujitsu class that I am walking into the class. Does that make
Right.
sense? And
You
that's,
leave it on the mat.
I
You
do.
no, you
We
leave it in the dojo.
pretty much,
All
I do.
right.
And that's kind of what it's there for.
I'd be willing to
for
bet
that
that you're
or,
still not the kind of guy that you'd want to meet in a dark alley, though.
oh, no. And that's the other thing that I think so many people have the misconception about why a lot of people do that, those different disciplines, is I'm only going to speak for myself. I can only speak for myself, but the majority of people that I know, we do that stuff so we don't get into fights. You
Right.
train your ass off, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but we train very hard, so we have the ability in our minds to go, nah, I'm not going to get in this fight.
Well,
That's kind of the same thing.
they call it a discipline for a reason, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, but it's the same thing of I've trained to have that discipline to like, wow, I'm having a shitty day. I don't want to, upend this bottle of Jack.
Right.
The discipline runs throughout, and it's a daily exercise.
Sure.
It's not easy to
Right.
do. I would love sometimes to just like, oh God, I'm just gonna have a shot.
Yeah.
But I worry about some family history and
Right.
other things of that nature.
Well,
I'm
and
just like,
I
all
think
right,
that's
well,
huge because it's something that we talk about all the time is vigilance. So being aware that you actually could potentially have an issue because of your family history, plays a huge part in mine, and it sounds like in yours.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Say the last part again.
No, I said as far as it being a part of your family history, and that is a part of your vigilance, is what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm, and I think both of us, my brother and I, are both trying. We
Right.
do this. It's just it's not easy to do.
Right.
That's
Well,
very easy.
I've got a fun question for you.
Yeah.
So, who is your favorite bass player? Who is like maybe one of your influences?
God.
There we go. Get the recovery stuff out of the way.
That's
Let's
not
talk
a
good
fun
stuff.
question at all, man. That's a hard question.
Well, let's see.
That's,
Okay. Just say top 5, or top 10. And don't
obviously Cliff Burton's in there.
Okay.
And Geddy Lee.
Cliff them all. And
You're a wrestler.
Okay.
From Black Flag.
Okay.
And John Entwistle, John Jones,
okay.
Jaco Pastorius.
Yeah.
Paul Alvarez.
Right.
My friend from Descendants is one of my heroes.
Okay.
I've learned so much from him.
Right.
It kind of changed. There's so many.
It sounds like whoever you're listening to that day.
No,
it's
not
like
necessarily,
no.
But
there's just different aspects you find amazing. Yeah.
Totally. Like I don't play anywhere near Jaco Pastorius.
Right.
But his aesthetic, his right hand technique informs my style. You would never think of it. Someone would go, that guy's inspired by Jaco Pastorius? No fucking way.
Right.
But how I play with my fingers and stuff, it's 100% Jaco.
Right.
He has, his idea was like, it's in your hands. If it's not in your hands, then you don't need it.
Right.
And I've always felt that's the biggest thing about being playing a bass or a guitar. It's there. You don't need
Sure.
I gotta have this great guitar. I gotta have this great, all this shit I gotta do. Like, well, no.
Dude, can you
can make it.
I like how you also said something about Geddy Lee. And fun story about Geddy Lee. He doesn't really write any of the lyrics for Rush. Did you know that?
He never did. Yeah, it was all Neil. Geddy and Alex wrote all of the music.
Mm-hmm.
Neil was the lyrics guy. So they would go and work on music all day long.
Sure.
He would write lyrics at night. They would get together and show like, hey, this is what we got. What do you got? Like,
right.
I got this. And that's how they wrote all their records.
I'm gonna sing obnoxiously high.
Yeah.
No. I mean high pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People clown Ged, but
right. Hey, dude, we love him. We love him.
My wife can't take it. But for me, it's like as a kid, and you know what? And that was one thing. I mean, like your question about what do I do to get past a lot of the shit. Like even in high school, I got made fun of all the time. Long hair. My brother and I, we got in a lot of fights with kids. So being from school and being alone.
Yeah,
and
you're
feeling
a Sherman boy, right?
Sherman, Texas, yeah.
There you
And
go.
feeling like a nerd and just like an outcast. Like I had my brother. He was my soul. You know, he and I were in this together. Like he's the only person on this planet that gets this.
Right.
So I had him to talk to, but also Rush. I would listen to Rush and feel better.
There you go.
You know what
dude.
I mean?
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I could listen to them, and I felt so much fucking better.
Sometimes you just gotta bask in that limelight.
Oh,
The
yeah.
the universal dream.
You just went there.
Yeah. It's still a balm. Like if I'm just feeling bad, I just put on the Signals record, and then
There
by
you
the end
go.
of it, I'm done. I'm good.
Love it.
After that, I am fantastic.
Right.
You know.
So you're oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so yeah, but you're also, I wanted to get to this, you're also an author, amongst other things, and you have a book called, go ahead.
Oh, even if it kills me. Sorry.
Even if it kills me. That was your cue, man.
Hey, I'm shitty at cues. Man.
That's
I
all
follow
good.
the drummer.
It's
I
all
follow the drummer. You know?
there you go. But so it's called Even If It Kills Me. Why don't you tell the people maybe a little bit of what it's about or what to expect in that book, and maybe where to, where it's available and stuff like that.
Well, it was just kind of about the band. We had a year off. We were going to take a year off from touring and recording, and I kind of thought, well, I'm going to go back and try and get my black belt in Taekwondo. I started it as a kid. My brother and I both did. Then we found guitars. So we were like, well, screw this, Taekwondo thing. We don't want to be ninjas anymore. We want to be rock stars. First
Right?
it was ninjas, then
Sure.
rock star. And I don't know if we necessarily traded up. I don't know what we did there. But,
Right.
so the band had time off, and I was thinking like, well, I want to do something with this time, something constructive.
Right.
And so I went back and started Taekwondo, and I was, 41. And I felt like Kramer on Seinfeld when he was doing karate with the little kids. That's how I
Yeah.
felt.
Right.
Karate,
But
Jerry,
it
karate.
was a long it was a long 2.5 to 3 years of just wear and tear. But that was the
Well,
whole
yeah,
thing.
and you're hanging out in Amarillo, Texas. No offense, I love Amarillo, but it is a little bit slower than your
is,
major
but
city. Yeah.
At the point when I moved there, I didn't see it for what it was, and I was just
It's
young,
a rest stop on the way to Colorado, dude.
well, but now it's become something different to me. At that point, I was under this illusion, like, oh, I want to go back to Dallas where it's cool and this scene.
Right.
Fuck that.
Right. Right.
I had to get older and like, what scene? Hanging out with people and doing all this dumb shit, like versus being in a smaller town where I can actually afford a fucking house and have a good life.
Hey, that helps. Yeah. Right.
People that I can have good conversation with.
Yeah.
Actually, life has been better for me once we moved there than it was when we lived in Dallas.
Right. Right.
It's crazy. So that regardless, though, it was just it was really long, and I had felt so proud when I got that black belt. And then I started writing about it as well. Like immediately, I started writing a diary thinking, I'm never going to get this chance again. I might as well start writing while it's all fresh and see where this takes me. We'll see what happens here, And I eventually, I put a bunch of stuff together. I started doing some articles for this magazine, Taekwondo Times.
Okay.
And I put some of those together and came up with like a press thing, kind of like just a quick manuscript that I sent to a publisher, YMAA, just a martial arts publisher, with my idea. And they liked it, and they agreed to publish my book. And that experience was exhausting.
Oh, yeah, actually writing a book? Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so exhausting. It really was. It was the
That,
hardest thing I've ever done in
that
my
was
life.
tougher than
You
getting your
know?
black belt, huh?
It really was. It
Yeah,
totally was, to relive a lot of these things and to dig deep
sure.
and to go really deep, to go dark, to go and to figure out these things.
Right.
You know, it was really hard. It was really, really, really hard. I'm glad I got through it, and I'm
Yeah.
due to write another one.
Is it an audio
And
book as well?
no, we didn't
Okay.
do an audio.
Well, I want you to do an
Unfortunately.
audiobook, dude, so lazy people like me can listen to it while they're driving.
I do as well, and I think I'm gonna speak to someone. I'm gonna try and figure out how I can get that done.
Right.
But anyone can get it on. Sorry, I'm in Los Angeles.
Hey,
It's
no,
really
it's cool.
loud here.
Hey, real quick, just so
Yeah.
the audience knows, you're actually on the road. You're actually calling in from L.A. right now. Are y'all playing? Where are you
Yes.
playing tonight? El Rey, or where are you?
El Rey Theater.
Okay.
Yeah, El Rey Theater.
Yeah,
We're playing.
so
It's
you're-
us and the Reverend Horton Heat
Oh.
and Dracula's.
Oh, nice. I like it.
It's
I love the local boy flavor with the Horton Heat, dude. I love it.
We're taking Texas to everyone else, whether they want it or not. You know,
Well, y'all are actually selling out shows, right?
we are. There are a good amount of these shows that did sell out or are sold out
Or close to,
in
yeah.
advance.
Right.
Yeah, and by the time we get there, they are sold out.
I mean, that's
It's
amazing, though, to think that, something still generates interest 20 plus years later is amazing. People don't realize how tough it is to get famous or to have a hit record, and then in order to have that longevity, it's literally a 1,000,000 to 1 shot.
It's a testament to the band's work. I
Right.
mean, they came up with a fucking classic record. You
Right.
know, I'm glad I get to play it every night. I bought it the same as everyone else.
Sure.
You know? So,
Well, yeah.
I mean,
We and that was Rubberneck, and we were talking, and we can talk about that just a little bit. But you used to come in when you were in Hagfish. I worked at Bill's Records, and so you were in there like either probably like with a stack of Hagfish CDs, and I'm actually answering the phone. And
Exactly.
so we were kind of in the same orbit. But then we also have a mutual friend. To you, he's a bandmate. Clark Vogler. Clark Vogie Vogue.
America's sweetheart, Clark Vogler.
There you go. Well, funny story about Clark. We were friends. I guess we were besties probably from about 18 to about 25. In that window period of where, he started off with Funland, or he started off with Melt, and then became Funland, and then, later ended up joining the Toadies. But Clark and I had a mutual friend who happened to be a girl, right? And she would call him, get this, Warkles. Warkles was his nickname. So what I want you to do is, if you can, like, just maybe randomly on stage when Vaden goes to go, hey, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Clark Vogler on guitar, then you just walk up to the mic and go. No, don't do that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a hard.
No, but just go up and just say Warkles.
We'll see. I'll have to workshop that. That might be a hard task, pretty much.
No, but he was a good friend of mine, and then that's how he put me in touch with you. Good dude.
Well, you know what? It was great having him because obviously I knew Rez. I didn't know Vaden as much.
Mm-hmm.
He and my brother had been, Zach had been the Burden Brothers with him, but having Clark there, it was like, oh, okay, all right, I can figure this out.
Right.
And just be able to talk to him about stuff and things. But the fact that people are coming to see us, it's just what, Vaden and Rez did with that record. And just everything since then, because we're seeing people come up with their kids. We're seeing people come in and they know the stuff that we just released as well as they know that.
Right.
And they're excited about new stuff as well. So it's just kind of very rewarding.
Right. And y'all are still writing. Do y'all have the Toadies have a new album coming out, or? or?
Yes, it'll be next year. We're all working on it right now. We're figuring out who we're going to go with. We're talking. We're trying to figure that part out.
Getting that song list. So, well, for Toadies fans out there, do we have a window or just next year?
Yeah, next year.
Next year.
It's a big window.
Every night on the shows, we're playing new songs.
Oh, okay. That's great. So new songs that haven't been released then.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like it. So it's a little trial by fire then.
Exactly. To see what works and what doesn't work. It's been awesome.
Well, so I know you got to keep it short. I know your gear, got rained on in where? Where was it?
Our only outdoor show.
Which was, where was that?
Amarillo. Actually, Amarillo we played. Yeah. And it rarely rains at this time of year, and especially it rained specifically on the stage.
Oh, just on you, on your bass, on your bass, and on your bass stack.
Yep, all of it.
I've got a question for you, Donnie. This is Clark.
Yeah.
So I was listening to a podcast by Chris Shiflett called Walking the Floor, where his guest was Steve Caballero. And one of the things that Steve said was, there's a lot of talk about trying drugs for the first time, and I'm going to try it. I hope I don't go on a bad trip. And one of the things that Steve Caballero said was, I wasn't worried about taking drugs and not liking it. I was worried about taking drugs and liking it, having a good trip and wanting to do more. Did you find? I'm just going off the story you told about your parents. Did you ever find that was sort of the case for you?
Oh, basically, yeah, because we saw everyone kind of going off the rails and losing their shit on them. So I think there's definitely that fear of, especially with the family history, of going, uh-oh, what if we become Jimi Hendrix drug users and we're just like maestros,
You'd be an amazing musician. You'd be an amazing musician and dead at 27.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty much. I don't know. Yeah, or it was.
No, but
there is that fear. There is that fear. That's a good question, but it's that was a fear as well, and not having enough resistance or control. Like once it started, to say no. You know what I mean? And hopefully, the fear that take over.
Right.
So it's kind of best not to even turn down that street.
Right.
So there's that. But I do got to say that if you do get the pleasure to meet Chris Shiflett, do it. He's one of the sweetest people on the planet.
Oh man, they played a show here at what's that place over in Bishop Arts? The big white building.
Oh, Kessler?
The Kessler. They were playing a show at the Kessler, and I couldn't make it. A couple of buddies of mine went, and my buddy Corey met him and just said he was just the coolest, most down-to-earth guy you've ever met.
I've known him for a long time, and nothing has faced him. He's just the sweetest human. He's real. He's a real good person, and he's an incredibly talented person as well, man.
Right on.
He really is. If you ever get that opportunity to do it, you couldn't ask for a better human being to spend some time with. I guarantee you. Sorry, I got off on a tangent, but I love Chris. He's a great guy.
No, it's okay. Shout out Chris. Yeah. Hey, anything you want to plug or say to the fans? Besides having your fans subscribe to this podcast, you can go to thispinkcloud.com and hit subscribe. But any shout outs or plugs you want to give?
Come out and see us if you want, and I think what you guys are doing is fantastic for people to listen to and talk about, and having a forum to hear for reinforcement.
Right.
Because I guarantee that's what a lot of people, they could be,
Well, we like to think of it as infotainment.
Yes, but I also think it's great for people to listen to. Like I said, they could be kind of at a crossroads, and who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
If they get to listen to one of your podcasts, then it helps them out of a bad spot. Much like it's helped a lot of people that I know and that could have used it.
Right.
So hopefully it'll help some other people get out of that bad spot and put them on a good path.
That is what we are here for, and
Good.
one of our many purposes of doing the show. So.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
I really
I appreciate you coming on. And then next time you're in town, will you come in and we can try to get you in studio?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, because I'd love to have you sit in, and we can call or have in one of your friends, and you can bring your own guest on the show.
I would love that. I will talk to. I've got quite a few that would probably love to be on this.
Well,
so
yeah, definitely, and send them my way. And then when you have time for little old This Pink Cloud, please.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks again, man, and go to Guitar Center and get your new gear.
No kidding.
All right, brother.
Have a good afternoon.
Okay, have a good one. Thanks, Donnie. I appreciate it.
See you guys.
All right, dude.
Bye-bye.
See ya. All right, cool. But I appreciate him sticking around and making that happen for us. Obviously, want to hit our sponsor real quick, which is the personal injury attorneys, Lone Star Injury Attorneys, and they are out of Houston, Texas. But if you hit up www.thispinklawyer.com, it will take you to their URL. Ask for Max and tell him I sent you. Good dude. He will listen and help you out. And obviously, please subscribe. And hopefully, we fix all this in editing. But thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rolling with the showbiz that is the show. So thanks for coming out. And any plugs for anybody? You probably want to shout out to your wife, Clark.
I always want to shout out to my wife, Rachel. You're the best. I love you.
There we go. Good one. And
I'll have a wife on November 7th.
All right.
Oh yeah.
She's pretty cool too, man.
I
enjoy her a lot.
You had a child out of wedlock.
Yeah.
You have been excommunicated. But
Sinful.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And hey, Fitz, thanks for figuring that out, dude. We had to do some technical work on the fly, so we appreciate you and appreciate Hello Studios hosting us. And that's all I got. So remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.